And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Songs of Six. This is the start of a new stream, so I've had a little bit of time to check up on some of the comments people have been leaving on the videos. One of which was that I should totally go for military. I believe in the current patch, for us to really benefit from any sort of empire building, we do need to get to the point where we have nobility. Now we're pretty close. We're up to 600 people. Nobility kicks in, as you can see here with nobility, is I believe at 650. So we're getting pretty close to being habitable nobles. Yeah, we're getting pretty close to being able to have some nobles. Although we will probably want even more than that before we start taking over a very large empire. Another thing, I suppose we can work on some of the tiles. Another thing we probably want before we settle in to conquest is, well, before we even get to the nobles, we probably want to get our army large enough that we can potentially attack someone. Now, we could have just attacked the guy we're trading with, but that would probably not be a great idea. They've got a garrison of about 268. We're going to have more than that to really lay siege to them. Plus, they are part of a faction. The faction's not very big, being only the two neighboring territories to us, but they are part of a faction as a side effect, right? So this is the faction, two down here. North of them is another faction, here's another faction, here's another faction. That may actually be a pretty small faction, if I'm reading that faction correct. So that might not be a terrible faction, hypothetically, to attack. But usually it's recommended that you go off and lay siege to someone in the free lands. Someone like Silverberg here. Silverberg here. With a garrison of 129. That's something we can probably do without mercenaries. We can probably get up to 100, 130, 140. Go lay siege to these guys. We'll have to trespass on the way out. So we'll have to pass these guys on the way out and these guys on the way out. These guys, I believe, are in proper free lands, so no one's going to really complain about us trespassing on the way out. So we just go lay siege to them. We'll get charged. Both of these guys will take their pound of flesh on the way out of our treasury, but we can go lay siege to these guys, and that'll provide us some territory. Of course, before we do that, we want some nobles, and before we even contemplate that, we probably want enough troops, and we can safely go do that. In addition to that, I think we're probably going to invest a little bit more in the innovation and knowledge tree here, mainly to improve the quality of our amenities. So things like refined taste for the food stall upgrade, fancy markets for the market upgrade, maybe grab fine entertainment, get posh relief, that sort of stuff. Basically look at stuff that just improves our existing stuff. Not necessarily go for more amenities, although we probably will go for justice. I might end up going picking justice here as well, as we grow, and in a way maybe not grow very much. We may want to pick up fine masonry. Might be masonry. If we cut stone, I'll have to double check where we cut stone from because we need that for some of those upgrades. So let's get into the town. Let's look at some of our amenities here and figure out what we need to upgrade them as our next step. So for lavatory, for example, we need to pick up the tech, and we need pottery. So we'll probably want to make some pots. For the stage, we're going to need to cut stone. For the well, we're going to need to cut stone. For the hearth, we're going to need cut stone and iron and metal. But we're making metal, so that's not too much of a concern. Cut stone is the main thing we're seeing here. The worshipping with style would provide a quality upgrade to the shrines if we just provided furniture and the research. So that's not too hard. So another thing we can do is we can check to make sure we got adequate coverage. Okay, so a little bit inadequate down there, a little bit inadequate there. One place is we may want to sort of build up another community over here, because we do have fishing going out and around the bend here. It isn't adequately covered by places like the shrines. Although in theory no one's living out there, so that's hopefully not too bad. Upgrading the guard post, again, is cut stone and Leather armor, which we already produce. I'm trying to think about what other amenities it would be worth hitting up. Speaker, cut stone. So I'm seeing cut stone, cut stone, cut stone, cut stone, cut stone. Cut stone is probably the one to go to, except for a little bit of pots for the lavatory. And I think we do want to do the lavatory upgrade. Partially because we know the lavatory upgrade, if we go into the tech tree, is gatekeeping the toilet, or gatekeeping healthcare, right? So we do the toilet upgrade, which is the perquisite for healthcare, which is the perquisite for the hospital and the physician. We probably don't need a lot of hospital care. Physician is one way to mitigate health getting worse. We may not need to necessarily rush to that. Although we are reaching the point where we got 12 infected people, and health is going to start becoming an issue from population. So we're going to have to do something about that going forward. So let's go look at refinement, or crafting. So pottery we got the tech for right now, so I can turn clay into pots. And it is masonry to turn stone into cut stone. So we're going to want to pick up masonry so we can pick up the ability to make cut stone, so we do a bunch of cut stone upgrades. Okay. And I think that was that our only stone mine we had? Oh no, there's another small one down here. Saying it right? Yeah, small stone mine there as well. Okay. Yeah, next thing I think we're probably going to do is let's get some pottery going so we can upgrade the toilets, and then cut stone. You know, let's, for current investment, let's invest in justice. There's the just investment. And we'll invest in posh relief and masonry. And then we'll have to get more innovation to do more of the quality building upgrades. I think that's enough things back to back that we should implement them before we research more. Up here, we want to build it would be a law building, yeah. We want to build ourselves a court, which costs furniture. It says it's costing gems. I'm not sure if we need it to necessarily cost gems at the first level. Oh, it does cost gems the first level. Okay. So I'll have to import some gems. That won't necessarily be super cheap. Okay, so the concern here, right, is this is going to cost gems. Yeah. Although I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. We do want to get this going fairly good. So put some doors in like so. Queue up for building. And then I will start a import of gems. Logistics. Import depot. Pull up the import depot there. We got some space in the food storage, so we'll drop fish by 1, and I'll put a single crate of gems here. So we've got some capacity to import gems. So that'll provide us the gem income while we're working on that. Import and construction. I'm also going to get some pottery going. Pottery over here, for example. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go with that size. A little longer, like so. How big are your auxiliary buildings? I need to make this work. So that would be big enough. And then we can make that work for the storage. Like so would work. That employ 12 employees making pottery, and I think that might be enough. Paying a little bit of a premium on wood and stone to build, I think that'll be fine. Okay, let's get time flowing. Let's get both of those buildings, well, get those 3 buildings started. At least the exteriors. We gotta wait until gems arrive from the import route for us to actually finish the court, but it's not too much, it's just 20 gems. And we got the rest of that input, the rest of that stuff. Okay. So the exterior of the building is built there. Should be delivering the stone and the wood. And then over here, furniture's arriving, and then we gotta get the gems in. You're done. So we're gonna say you're accepting gems. And we'll say import up to 30 gems. Okay. That should be enough to get the courthouse going. And once we have both of those done, I'll start some of the precursor work to increasing the size of our army. We want to go up to about 140 people, I think, before we go on campaign. Because of the sort of campaign we're going to be doing, I probably don't need them as well trained as they currently are. So one thing I can do, and will do, is I'm basically going to reduce their equipment, reduce their training, and increase the numbers. We're going to go from like 20 with max training to like 140 with minimum training and equipment. Because they're going to go do a siege, is what we're going to be doing with them. Still waiting for stone and wood to be delivered. Should have adequate of both in stockpile. Well, we are net trending negative on both. Well, that's maybe not an issue at the moment. Construction workers are beginning to build there. We've got housing for 70, so I'll probably let a few more workers in to support the pottery construction here. go. So, we're going to adjust this up. I'm going to say we want about 620 in the town now. Then more workers. So it's 1-to-1 on the clay. So if we got 10 workers there, or no, we got 12 workers there. You know, I'll add another 10 to the clay pit as well. That'll oversupply the clay, but I think that's fine for the moment. And then that'll provide us pottery. We'll need to put a little bit of pottery storage here, ideally. Oh, and the court is now done. No judges yet have assigned themselves, but I'm now going to take the slight risk of enabling the judge. Everyone can now go be judged. And should everything working well mean less people need to spend time in the stocks and or the prison. A little more productive of workforce there. As well as a slightly happier populace. Got insufficient workers. Okay, let's go ahead and grab, raise the cap again to 640. Okay, now we have a judge, so people can be judged. Should help with law and order. This is also something our pops do want in government, although it will take them a while to benefit from having that judgment. Gain some bonus there, good. Law should hopefully trend up. And then in tech, I did research the toilets. So as soon as we feel like we got enough pottery, we're going to start upgrading our toilets. So it's 36 pots each. We currently have 4 toilets, so I need to get about 40 pots each. Well, we're letting some time pass. I'm going to need to build a army supply depot. Off with army supply depot over here. Yeah, it's hopefully going to be large enough to meet our supply needs, which is spears, armor, shields, and rations. I think things are going well in our nice little city here. And we'll see how well this army supply depot works. Here we go. Insufficient workers available, and obviously battle unlocked. Congrats, you've now earned the right to style yourself the artisan. Next playthrough or reset, you'll be allowed to select this title to boost your game. Each race you unlock this with with the title will make it boost more potent. So I'm getting bonuses to a bunch of construction industries, bowyers, drillers, mechanics, such and such. Okay. So, not 100% sure that this is big enough. I'm gonna hope that our guys just need those 4 things to ship to them. Because otherwise I may have some problems later. Okay, we got 39 pots, so let's upgrade the first laboratory. First, let's, before I do that, let's actually look at how good the laboratories are. We may not, for example, have enough coverage. So laboratory, we're getting 42% from the laboratories. Access is pretty good, proximity is pretty good, quality is pretty good, upgrade is a minimum level, which is 32%. So we're going to kick that up from 33 to 66. See how much of an improvement that makes. Although we got to do it one laboratory at a time at the moment, so we do the first one. Makes it a little bit more posh looking. Introduces a few more consumption requirements to our upkeep. Although for the moment that shouldn't be a concern. Most of those we should have been prepared to handle. Available livestock. We don't have enough livestock. That's what's going on there. I think that's fine. As our ranch makes more livestock, that should fix itself. Upgrade in the laboratory, what it was, increase in wood consumption, furniture consumption, and pottery consumption. All of which we were pretty ready to handle, although I probably should be contemplating maybe expanding the production of various things. Another thing I can be doing is we are going to want some cut stone production. So I think I'm going to prepare some more housing and some cut stone production. Extreme temperatures. That's not going to be too much of a problem for our people because we're pretty close to the river. That may be more of a problem in other maps. So we're going to copy the neighborhood here. And then up in this space up here is where I'm going to put the masonry workhouse. Probably want a little bit more space. Maybe. Maybe we'll run that. Okay. We're gonna need some auxiliary bench. Okay, that will vaguely work for support. I think we need some auxiliary stations. Okay, I think it's 100% efficiency. I think that's telling us I've maybe underbuilt the building. Well, underbuilt the facility in the building. Brings us up, okay. A little bit more in. That also brings us up to... Nope, yeah, that would work. 30 is not that bad either, so let's take that. Yeah, let's work with that. And then, where is my closest storehouse? Leave this one. So we need to add some cut stone to the storehouse. Storage reasons. If I've got open block spaces, I suppose we can pop a couple of stone over to cut stone. There we go. And then we're going to have to bring more people in, which is going to give us that next noble title. Well, get us our first noble title, let's say. And they're going to have to expand the army for the campaigning. And then I'll have to do a combination to expand the libraries for more knowledge and the laboratory for... I suppose the laboratory I could instead of expanding it, just put more people in clay working, and tell it to use clay. But we're going to want more innovation. We're going to want more knowledge, so we can lock more of these service upgrades, improve quality. Upgrade the next toilet. Next lavatory. The next one requires cutstone. Get the gilded seats. Okay, enough housing for 60, so let's go ahead and we'll raise this, the stone cutter. Oh, we're gonna need stone workers as well. You know, we'll go with 700 there. New levels been stone, so we can now have access to a nobility. Which is not something we've interacted yet. So we've got 5 nobilities and no promotions, so we can take up to 5 different nobles. So just pick one of our people here and elevate them. We'll be needing that for government admin and such. Although I may want, and this is probably what we should do first, is we should probably, you know, build a home for them, so they have somewhere to live. Doesn't require... It says here requires a lot of work to maintain. That's not quite true, because you don't have to make it that fancy. Your starting nobles can be poor by noble standards, let's say. Most of our stone consumption is maintenance, although some of the carpenters are... One of the carpenters is using it, I believe, to make our spears. The iron has yet to be delivered from the masonry. You know, I know I'm going to want that much stone, so let's go ahead and... Well, at least want, like, say, another 20 stone production. So that's at least 4 more workers right now at the current efficiency. Say 5 more workers, so we'll go up to 13 workers on stone mining. And with this done, we can get an approximation, whoops, of how much stone that's going to consume. That's going to consume 60 stone to make 15 cut stone. So we're going to want another... What, let's say 15 workers on this. Go up to 28 workers. Make it a little wall for that to higher up. Here we go, it's higher up. And that gives us a slight positive, that's probably fine. During major construction projects, I can go just clear stone from the environment. Don't quite have the pots for the next toilet upgrade. Let's build a noble house, noble chamber. Oh, this does cost. Okay, so we don't design these like the regular houses do. Okay. Maybe not. We'll leave the poor nobles, when we do take them, a little homeless for a while. At least until we do some gem mining of our own. How's the quality of living been going up? So government, up and down. Could potentially improve that. Judgment is definitely better. So that's probably due to not having great overlap on the guard post here. Default level guard post, you can see, doesn't reach very far beyond the guard post, and we're kind of running past there. Do I have the tech for the upgrade on the guard post? That's the question. I know I obviously have the guard post, but is there... Okay, it looks like the upgrade to the guard post is not locked behind anything, so we could just upgrade as soon as we have the cut stone. So I suppose that was a good reason to get the cut stone going, because we can just double the effectiveness of the guard post's cost of cut stone upkeep. Okay. You know, one thing we're going to do... Let time pass organs, because it's not super time sensitive. Time to change our combat unit here. So, training! We're going to dumpster the training. Sorry guys, your quality is going to go down. I'm going to give you minimum shields and armor and spears. And then we're going to kick you up to 140, understanding that we only have training facilities for 20. So with the lower training duty, effectively they'll have to take turns training to be ready, but I think we can work it that way. Our fulfillment is not that much above expectations, so we are going to struggle continuing to grow the city much more without fixing that. Although we are awfully close to having one employed, so we will have to struggle with that, I think, soon. Let's upgrade the next laboratory. And we can do things like the laboratory upgrades basically without having to hire more people. It was just getting the pottery in for that, right? I'm at 20 clay. The laboratory would be minus 60. So I'd have to put a little bit more on the clay mine. Okay. So we got 40 soldiers right now, the 140 we're going to want for the siege. 20 which are trained, 20 are being trained. Am I making enough furniture? Might need more furniture. Where is my main? So that's a fully assigned furniture workshop. So I can click on that and find the other ones. So you're working full speed. You're making spears. You're making shields. We're not going to buy from the slaver. And you're fully assigned. Okay. So I may need to build another one of those carpenters at some point just to get some more income on furniture. Although we're still making net 2 right now, so that's maybe not an immediate concern. We're saving for 72 on the cut stone, and we now have enough pots for the last of the toilets to be upgraded. Oh, that requires a little more furniture, so we gotta wait for the furniture to get up. There we go. Getting a bad event related to rain. Well, good thing that most of our people rely on fishing and not the rain to keep the crops going. So it's probably been going long enough we can see what the effects of the toilet access improvement has been. Service and laboratories. We are rising, and we're still expected to rise a little bit because the quality upgrade hasn't truly set, and they haven't experienced the improved toilets yet enough, because that would rise from 55 to about 66 in theory, and as such is rising. There we go. It's going to provide more fulfillment, giving us more space for expansion. And I think we're going to be putting into making a bit more furniture on the next batch. Although I think we're going to do a first guard post upgrade. Gives us a bit more coverage, should help a little bit with law and order. Because it'll be harder for people to avoid the watchful gaze of the guards. Tremors. I guess we're going to sacrifice some food. Something deep into the ground stirs, a rhythm thumping can be felt everywhere in your city. Intensity varies and slowly shifting the earth. Luckily, it's nothing like an earthquake in strength, but cracks start to show in buildings and foundation shift. According to the old lore, sacrificing fresh food can appease whatever is causing the tremors. Sure. Subjects make their way to the nearest deep rift where they are faced with a challenge. Since no one actually knew what was down there, selecting the right ritual proved difficult. After some deliberation, they chose to conduct every single one. After that, they rather unceremoniously threw the food down into the rift. Never heard it hit the ground, and the tremors stopped soon after that. Yeah. Well, now we don't have to worry about maintenance, and this is the cost of food. Yeah, it wasn't a trivial amount of food. That was like 3 days worth of food, but it could have been worse. Let's copy one of these, build another carpenter. Or actually, let's just copy paste that one. So let's say I probably want another lumberjack woodcutter of about 20 woodcutter size. Something like that. Storage isn't going to be too big. Do that for the auxiliary. Good enough. We're going to need more people to come in. Work that. Let's move up to like 730. Do an area place another housing facility because we definitely need more houses. Waiting for the cut stone, and we'll continue to upgrade guard post, and then we'll probably move on to the next hypothetical industry to improve, or service to improve, while we wait for our army to train up. One of our old... I'm guessing one of our old soldiers probably died. There does need to be some cycling of people coming in here to train. I have enough metal. Let's go ahead and upgrade the training grounds. This trains them a little bit more efficiently, I believe. 150% training speed. Nice. We need some workers for the woodcutter. So we're gonna want like another 20 workers already. 750 there. Now employ over 50 woodcutters. As a result, combined experience is boosting their performance. Nice. Okay, I obviously have enough clay for the moment, so let's go ahead, instead of wasting it, let's turn the laboratory modifier on, and then as the clay gets low, we'll turn up the clay mine. Some more workers, because we've got about 20 new jobs there, and only 20 odd jobbers. We'll go up to 760. Or did already might have already subtracted my odd jobbers off. Okay. So then we got 31. That'll be fine. So 20 for the cut stone. 14. What is this? The... Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be making like 15 a day. Could use a little bit more on the hulling is what's going on. Okay. Could do is, like I said, this to auto-adjust. I might regret this, so I set everything to auto-adjust. You know, I will start going through and letting these auto-adjust to be a little bit more timely with getting deliveries done. It means the overly busy ones will take up a bunch more workers. So you can see as I'm clicking this, we're losing workers here and there. Showing that it's going down. Let's put another 10 more workers in the clay pit. To slow the rate that it goes down. We've got housing for more, so we'll let a couple more people in. We'll go up to 780. Guard post upgrade. I'll do the one up near the cut stone itself. That way it actually covers the cut stone place. In theory, that's helping to improve law and order, because then we'll be spending more time actually catching people. Our arrest rate has been a bit slow. Okay. But 25% arrest rate. So, yeah, improving the guardhouses should help with arresting the perpetrators. We're shipping with style. Well, that is a lot of furniture to improve the shrine. What I might do is right now, we want to keep the lavatories going, but we're actually making a lot more pottery than we probably need, which is good because then that means we can spend it to generate revenue, which we will need for when we get to the point where we're going to start trespassing. Wood's barely trending up, which is fine. Stone's barely trending up, which is fine. Both of those, if we need more of, we can go and do some manual odd-jobbing mining. And then here we are exporting the pots. And that ratio is probably fine. Actually, I'd like a little bit more than 40. Let's go up to 80. Almost got enough cut stone for the next guardhouse to be upgraded. I think, that's the number of prisoners. That number. So that number being lower means either we're successfully catching them and working them through the system, or not catching them, which is a problem we'd like to avoid, actually. Extreme temperatures, again, that's not too much of an issue. Okay, our historical trend for rest is going up. 100% of them are being judged, so we got enough judgment. 75% are imprisoned, 75% are awaiting punishment. Historical trend here. And then 55% are being stocked. Although our stocks are... Are they full, or... Looks like to be one open spice. I'm gonna get rushed to get more of that out, I think. Okay, enough for the next guardhouse. Let's do this one down here. Odd jobbers are getting a bit low. We'll go up to 800 people in. We are getting uncomfortably close. Our expectations are actually now above fulfillment. So that is going to be a concern going forward. Because of the distribution of clay to our places, we do have 37 innovation. Amenity, we probably want to improve. We do have a lot of refined tastes, or a lot of food stalls. The refined taste might be pretty good to do. Does the food stall upgrade cost? Furniture and pottery. Okay, so let's do that one next. So we'll grab you. Cost 10 innovation. We've got the pottery, we've got the furniture, so let's start moving through our food stalls. This is what they looked like, this is what they look like now, so they're a little bit more beautiful. That should hopefully help with the service value for the food stalls. Again, we've got adequate access and adequate proximity on those. Fancy well. Do anything special for the hearth? Fancy hearth. Yeah. And you can see that we're slowly trending up a larger and larger army. We've got training facilities capable of training 20 at a time. So it's going to take a little while for them to get up to 140. So we have them set to. We may be at the point where we want to expand leather armor production. Okay. So normal clothing we probably should expand. Are we making enough cloth? More than enough, yeah. So let's up this from 3 to 6. Yeah, that brings us positive in the clothing. Leather armor, we'll probably want to do the same. Although we'll be on leather. We are positive on leather. Let's double the clothing storage, or clothing production then. The armor production then. That buys us some positivity there. Because we are going to start paying that in maintenance to maintain the guard posts. Technically running a deficit on cotton farms. Although we got some wild harvest, right? So I'm not too worried about that because it's not showing the wild harvest. And then we have a pretty big surplus on you, although not by much. So let's not poke with that industry too much. I'm going to need more housing if we're going to continue expanding. Space on guard posts. We got a little bit of coverage there. Probably here is where we want to be thinking about expanding. Okay. Oh, probably didn't leave really enough space there. That'll work, but should have left a little more space. Little in tight for the food stall. Okay, let's get that last guard post upgraded. Accident occurred. 0 subjects are injured and will seek out a hospital. There were 6 deaths. Okay, that's not great. Although we have the burial facilities, so that's not immediately a concern. 5 people got thrown in the mass grave. No one has been buried in the graveyard yet. Okay, with the negative odd jobbers, we're going to need to bring some people in. Let's go up to 820. They're basically gonna have to come in first and then build their houses afterwards. We've got 15 food stalls, 5 of them are upgraded. 6, and make that 7. And again, this helps with the food stall fulfillment, which helps to raise services, which helps to keep us fulfillment positive, and we are just about providing the fulfillment our people expect, which is a good thing to see. I could potentially speed this up a little bit by importing furniture, I think. Probably want to do wells. Our people do like water, so let's pick up fancy well. It's behind roads. I suppose I could pave the roads. That would be another thing that would help them a lot with their happiness. You have to upgrade knowledge, I think, to grab healthcare. Yeah. Wells, or do you want to go hearth? What do you need for the hearth? Really need the marketplace upgrade, although that would be clothing, so people would be taking advantage of that every once in a while. Okay, fancy hearth is behind basements, so let's not do hearth, let's do paved road, swimming pools into... Oh, never mind, that is... That is a knowledge cost. Although I still think we want to do that. It's knowledge as well, okay. Left side is innovation, right side is knowledge, so I just misread that. I was thinking, yes, 15. I've got the innovation for that. And no, that's knowledge. That's the other side. Like stage. Oh no, we already have stage. The upgrade to the stage is knowledge. Okay. Let's. And actually disable swimming pools for the moment. And we can get that innovation back and spend on something else. Aspen tools, okay. Yeah, I suppose Bloodsport, Fighting Pit is the next one we'll pick up, so pick that up as well. Okay, and then we'll have to upgrade knowledge going forward. We'll get the road upgrades, because those will be quite valuable, and start distributing those. But looking at the time, I think it is time to put a part break in. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll have another part up for you tomorrow. We are going to record another 3 parts tonight. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to take a short break, get up, stretch legs, sip some tea, and then we'll be getting back to... Probably the first thing we're going to do is probably just do a bunch of road paving. We're going to upgrade ourselves from dirt roads to basically brick road. And our people will appreciate that. The roads will need less maintenance, and we'll save on janitors. And yeah. And then we'll get around probably increasing our knowledge, so we can institute that, and obviously get the fight bit going. So until next time, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next one, and bye for now.